stop. You haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. The alarm function on my phone went off at 8 a.m. and that galvanized me into action. I jumped out of bed, ran downstairs to put the kettle on, then back up again to have a quick shower. I was expecting the shit to hit the fan just after 9, so I wanted to be ready. My wife Joan was still sound asleep. We had not arrived home until 4 in the morning after dropping our youngest daughter, Michelle, off at university. Why Joan should be so tired that she was sleeping in. I couldn't fathom, as I had just done all the driving on the 500-mile round trip while she slept most of the way. Joan and I had been married for almost 25 years. We had 3 wonderful children who I am very proud of, as they had all made it to university. The oldest, Estelle, had graduated last year and was now in theory backpacking around the world. David was about to start his final year at Oxford. And finally there was Michelle, whom we had just ferried up to Newcastle. Having had my shower, I rushed back down, made some coffee, and took it back to the bedroom. Here you go, coffee, sleepyhead. God, what time is it? Almost 9. Time you shook a leg. Why do we have nothing on for today? She said as she pulled herself into a sitting position so she could drink her coffee. I, in the meantime, slapped 2 suitcases on the bed and began to put my clothes in them. Joan watched me for a few moments before her curiosity got the better of her. What are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing, my love? Let me give you a hint. I'm taking my clothes out of my wardrobe and dresser and putting them into these suitcases. I would call that packing, wouldn't you? Why are you packing? Are you going somewhere? I would have thought that was obvious. Why you sit there and say you don't know why. No, I don't know why. No, I don't know why. Joanne had gone very pale. She had taken me for a fool for many years and did not suspect that I had any idea of what she had been up to behind my back. Joanne, what do I do for a living? You run a security company and look after people's security for them, I suppose. I don't really know. We travel around meeting people a lot, but you never talk to me about your work, so I'm not sure. Wouldn't it be more honest of you to say you've never cared what I do? Providing you have had the money to spend, you have never showed the slightest interest in how I acquired it. After all, I could be a bank robber. Don't be silly. When we got married, you told me you worked for a big security firm, that you started your own company. I know you work long hours, but you have never told me what you do. Yes, Joan and I do run a security company. When any of our friends or acquaintances asks, I tend to be a bit vague with them. But what I really run is a detective agency. I have 20 freelance detectives who work for me. They all specialize in different fields. Some work on company fraud and do background checks on prospective employees. Some work with security of computers, and some work on what we like to term domestics. Joanne had suddenly turned very pale, and I think I saw her stomach give a couple of lurches. Are you feeling all right, Joanne? If you're going to be sick, please make sure you do not make a mess on my clothes. Would you like me to get you a bowl? Don't be stupid. I'm not going to be sick, but I don't know what your job has got to do with your packing. Are you going on a trip that you haven't told me about? I went over to the dresser where my laptop was lying. I opened my laptop and brought up a video. The images on the screen revealed Joan's betrayal, accompanied by the audio of the man's moans. The evidence of her infidelity was clear. Well, I was bloody sick. The first time I saw Phil with you behaving like that. Joan was quick and went straight on the attack. What did you expect? You haven't made love to me in years. I had to find satisfaction somewhere. Just because you lost interest in having sex with me. Did you think I should give up sex as well? Joan, I stopped making love to you when I found out you were having threesomes with Tony and Greg, the 2 trainers at the health club, because they were foo in any sloot that could get their hands on. I didn't know what you might catch from them. On the subject of those 2, have you heard from Tony lately? Joan didn't reply. She just sat there looking at the screen. You haven't answered me. Have you heard from Tony lately? No, I don't suppose you have. Well, for your information, he was admitted to an AIDS clinic last month. If I were you, I would go and have some tests done. Joan was only crying now. You bastard, you knew and said nothing. Nothing about what? There is nothing about you that would make any man interested in you, and there is nothing about Tony having AIDS. I honestly don't know how long he has been infected. Since you haven't had sex with him for about 3 years, you are likely safe. However, that doesn't mean you haven't contracted something from one of the other men you have been with. You've been sleeping around. Why didn't you tell me? If you had told me when you found out about Tony and Greg, I would have stopped by a fair. What would have been the point? You have been cheating on me since we got married. You clearly didn't care about me or my feelings. If I had confronted you, You would probably have run off with one of your lovers and left me with the children. No, once I discovered you were sleeping around, I decided to wait until the children were grown and then leave you. You are a cold-hearted bastard. Do you mean to tell me that you have been planning to leave me the moment our children have left home? Not our children, Joan. Your children only. Estelle is mine. David and Michelle have two different fathers. Don't be so silly. Of course you're their father. I doubt you have any idea which of your lovers fathered them. But you know DNA is a wonderful science. Can tell who fathered which child. Took my people some time. But I know who their fathers are now and have taken steps to rectify things. This is ridiculous. You are the father to all three of our children. I put my hand up to silence Joan. Dear woman, you have been unfaithful to me since the day we met, both before and after our wedding. For years, I worked tirelessly to provide you with everything you desired. You have been mocking me for years, and in the end, I caught you in the act. Stop pretending to be anything other than a whore. Now you are a single woman. You can sleep with whoever you want without guilt. At that moment, the phone began to ring. It must be for you, Joan. I'm surprised they hadn't called earlier. Joan glared at me as she picked up the phone. Then I listened in on what I thought was an entertaining conversation. Hello? Yes, it's me. What is he doing? How much is that? 300,000 pounds. Are you serious? He can't do that, can he? I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't know he was aware of it. He just told me he's leaving me. How the hell do I know? He mentioned something about DNA. You tell me how I can stop him. I told you he's leaving me. Well, you seem to be enjoying yourself quite a bit at the moment. You too. You asshole. With that, Joe slammed the phone down and started crying again. That was David Tucker. He says you're suing him for 300,000 pounds. She mumbled through her tears. That's right. I have provided for his son for 21 years, paid for his private education, and supported him through Oxford. I think he's getting away with it pretty easily, don't you? But now I think I want my money back from his real father, and if I'm lucky, it will ruin his marriage. You're going to destroy his marriage. Don't you have a conscience? Come on, Joan. Where did you get the idea that I have a conscience? Where was your conscience when you cheated on him? And where was Tucker's when he cheated on my wife? He chose to cheat on me, and that left me with a child. Now he has to pay for the privilege of cheating on me. The two of you chose to let me think that David was my son. I honestly thought he was your child. You probably cheated on so many guys that you didn't even know who David's real father was. But I do, and so does David. Did you tell him? How could you do that? Of course I told him. He had the right to know who his real father is. To be honest, he suspected from the start what kind of woman his mother was. Why do you think he has spent so little time at home since he started university and did not come here this summer? You've driven him away from me. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it was he who didn't want to come here and see you. I tried to make him at least say goodbye, but I should imagine you will see him at the divorce court. My cell phone played its little tune to say I had a text message. I read the message, then turned back to Joan. A perfect timing. David has just informed me that Michelle no longer wishes to know or be in contact with. You, her father, will also have got my summons by now. You bastard. You've turned them all against me. Hold on. That message can't be from David. He's in New York. You wish. Neither David nor Estelle left the country this summer. They'd have both been staying in our new house. Well, it's Estelle's house, actually. We didn't want your lawyers to be able to try to make any claim on it. The children don't wish to see you anymore. David and Estelle were in a car parked behind us when we left Michelle's lodgings last night. They have explained to her what you have been doing and why I am leaving you. Michelle was given the choice of which parent she wanted to go with. The appears she has opted to go along with her siblings. Joan, it looks like you are alone. You can't do that. They're my children. All three of your children have had a completely free choice. They know who has looked after them all their lives, and they know who has spent her time. Living it up and behaving as a whore. I'll stop you. You can't take my children away. Your children had a free choice, Joan. I know I can trust them to make the right decisions. Oh, when you contact your solicitor, tell him that my company actually belongs to Estelle and has for the last few years. No sense in them wasting time and money trying to claim a share in something I don't own. Bastard. Joan shouted at me as I left the room with my suitcases. They were the last words I ever heard her say. Joan didn't contest the divorce, and I pay her no maintenance. David and Michelle's father settled out of court. Not for the 300,000 pound I asked, for but enough to give both of them a good start in life. Asked for but enough to give both of them a good start in life. What happened to the Arsehols' marriages is no concern of mine. The children refuse to see Joan, and officially we don't know where she is. One of the staff reported to me that she was charged with prostitution a few months back, but I have managed to keep that from the children. I am marrying my ex-secretary Samantha in a few weeks. No, we didn't have anything going between us whilst I was married. When I first found out about what Joan had been up to, it was Sam in whom I confided. She left the firm to have a baby several years ago. While she was still in hospital after having the child, she found out her husband was shaking up with some tart. Naturally, she turned to me for support. Sam is 10 years younger than I am, but my children encourage us to go for it. Life goes on. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.